So I would say one of my biggest takeaways from watching the Cavs play this game was that the Evan Mobley, Jared Allen combination, I spent a lot of time last season on this pod and specifically in Cleveland, really emphasizing that I didn't think the Cavs could play effectively with them both out there. And all of the data points pointed to this. It pointed to the fact that if they had three shooters on the court, I kept saying three.
So 1-3-1.
1-3-1, 1-3-1-1, whatever. Three shooters, one point guard, one big was the way for the Cavs to play. The data all backed it up. JB Bickerstaff did not listen to me. He played the two bigs throughout the year. They stumbled over each other quite a bit. They still reached the second round of the playoffs. It wasn't like they were a lottery team. And I was convinced after the year, I was like, they can't, because Mobley and Jared Allen both were extension eligible, and the Cavs went ahead and extended them both for hundreds of millions. Between the two of them, I think it was $350 million.
And they gave themselves some wiggle room by doing the Jared Allen extension, as McMahon was going to say.
Though, but you're right.
Well, but they did it so they could trade him in theory at the deadline if they wanted to trade him. So they gave themselves some wiggle room. No, for sure. But
when it happened, we
talked about it.
Note about the timing of it as opposed to the marketing timing in Utah.
And we talked the other day, you mentioned on Tuesday my story that ran Wednesday on the Wednesday pod ahead of the game on the comparisons between this team and the 2014-15 Warriors, the initial Warriors team, right? And one comparison that I didn't have in the story that I was thinking of last night while watching the game that annoyed me that I didn't think of was that Warriors team obviously had Steph and Clay as unbelievable generational all-time, maybe the two greatest shooters of all time, right? Because they had those two guys, that allowed them to play two non-shooting bigs together a lot. Yeah. And obviously that season, the 2015-16 season, Draymond Green shot like 38% from three. The rest of his career, he's been a middling to bad shooter, right? And they played him next to Kevon Looney, Andrew Bogut, all these other non-shooting bigs. They could get away with it because those two guys were all-time great shooters and because Draymond Green is a phenomenal passer and could take the ball to the short roll from Steph Curry and make plays. And the difference with this Cavs team from last year and 2 years ago is Evan Mobley is so much more physical, playing with so much more confidence and so much more force that when he's getting the ball in that short roll now, he's zipping the ball all over the place and making fantastic plays. And that's why that pairing can work. Because in the past, like in that Knicks series 2 years ago, he would get the ball in the short roll and he wouldn't really know what to do with it and nothing would happen. And last night, against the best defense in the league, that's a ball-hawking team that's constantly creating turnovers. He's getting the ball in the short roll and hitting Jared Allen for dunks, kicking the ball out for threes, making every great pass. Jared Allen made a bunch of great passes too, and that was the key to them unlocking that defense and getting all these open shots. It was that passing inside. And Evan Mobley's maturation and growth in that area, that last night really shone through just how much better he's gotten this season. And that's what has allowed that two big lineup to work in ways it wouldn't before.
Yeah, well, they both had 20 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists. And it was
just obliterated the Thunder inside all game.
Yeah. And I will say this, as the game was going on, and the Thunder were doing a terrific job to hang in there, and not even hang in there. It was a
hell of a game.
Yeah. But as you're watching Jared Allen just kill him on the boards and Evan Mobley get in there and get his hands on stuff. And by the way, Isaiah Hartenstein had a good game. He had a very good game. His push shot was working great. He was very effective, but that there obviously Chet's lurking out there, and Chet's not going to be
efficiency, field goal percentage, and 3-point percentage shooting. Their net rating second only to OKC. Now, OKC came into this game as the top defensive team in the NBA, and they surrendered 129 points. And this was with Donovan Mitchell having his worst game of the season, 11 points, just 3 of 16 shooting from the field. Jared Allen, this kid Evan Mobley, listen, this brother can play. And when you look at him, and Allen had 25 points, they combined for 46 points, 21 rebounds. I'm looking at OKC and I'm saying, okay, Chet Holmgren is still not back. He's not out there. And you'll definitely need him to go up against a team like Cleveland. But, Wendy, I got to tell you, obviously we don't want to summarily dismiss the reigning defending NBA champion Boston Celtics. We know what they can do. We know they know how to do it. We know they got 2 stars on their squad. And when Kristaps Porzingis being there, if he's healthy in the postseason, we know what that could mean for them. Plus, they all play their roles. We got that. They're champions. And we need to see Cleveland to believe it. But I got to tell you something. They got size in Cleveland. They got athleticism. They've got shooters. They defend. They're exceptionally well coached by Kenny Atkinson. I believe that Donovan Mitchell is a bona fide star in this game. He's big time. Darius Garland is balling. So when you look at all the pieces that they have and the way that they're playing together, and you've got guys like, 11 different guys, getting minutes for crying out loud. Nobody's averaging more than 32 minutes a game. And you're young to begin with. You're going into the playoffs with all of those abilities plus fresh, youthful legs at various positions. I got to tell you, Wendy, I can't sleep on the Cleveland Cavaliers. I'm going as far as to say this, which is damn near sacrilegious. Okay. Right now, until I see further notice from the New York Knicks, all season long I was thinking about Knicks, Boston. Nah, if I'm going to be an objective viewer, I got to look at the Cleveland Cavaliers and say, yo, peeps, they got a chance to win the chip, to win it all.
Wendy, where are you on this?
Well, let me digress just for a second and say what an amazing night this was for NBA basketball. This was an advertisement of NBA regular season basketball at its best. Both of these teams playing their systems. Molly, in the third quarter of this game, the Thunder won the third quarter 43-41. That 12 minutes of basketball and the way these two teams operated the way that they play with that mastery was as high of a level as I've seen in the regular season in my 20-plus years covering the NBA. I'm talking watching the Thunder play with physicality and speed and watching the Cavs tight passing and player movement and ball movement and watching them go back and forth. There were 30 lead changes in this game. And yes, there was a lot of threes shot, but it was within systems. It was if you don't love this game, if you watch this, you don't love basketball. This was a display of great high-level basketball. To talk to you about the Cavs, what they have is 9 or 10 players who can all dribble, pass, and shoot. And that may seem like a basic concept, but that makes them an absolute misery to defend because all of their players are live. And not only that, the skill level at which Jared Allen and Evan Mobley work together, this was a group that I admit, I thought that they couldn't work together. After last season, I said they are underachieving. They have to maybe consider breaking them up. Kobe Altman, their GM, and Kenny Atkinson, when he came with the plan, said there's a way to do it. And basically what Kenny Atkinson is doing is playing Evan Mobley kind of like Draymond Green. He's not Draymond Green, I want to be clear. Right. Kenny Atkinson was the last 3 years in Golden State, won a ring with the Warriors. You watch how Evan Mobley gets the ball in the middle of the court and then disseminates it, and he does it with speed and accuracy. It's reminiscent of the way Draymond plays. The way the Cavs play, with everybody who steps on the floor can hit a three, and the way they move the ball is reminiscent of the way the Warriors played when they first started their run with Steph and Clay and Sean Livingston and Andre Iguodala. Like, they don't have Steph. I don't want to make it a straight comparison. No, nobody. But Steve Kerr has seen this. Steve Kerr said the exact same words about the Cavs about 2 weeks ago. And so, obviously, the Celtics are a powerhouse. They're 1-1 against the Cavs this year. Some guys were missing in various games. Chet Holmgren, as Stephen A. mentioned, if Chet Holmgren plays in this game, Jared Allen doesn't dominate the way he does. Correct. But if you watch the Cavs play, you have to be impressed. Let me tell you something right now, Wendy. I piggyback off of what you're saying. 11 players for the Cleveland Cavaliers are averaging at least 17 minutes a game. 11 players. Yeah. And Atkinson is just showing the brilliance of Steve Kerr as a coach, because we know that as good as Atkinson was, he wasn't coaching the way that he's coaching now when he was a head coach in Brooklyn before that, Wendy. You know that.